Hi, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome back from your week-long furlough or hiatus or whatever you want to call it because of the holiday that we just had. I hope you guys had an enjoyable break. If you took one, some of you have been working very diligently right along with the modules. But for my my beginning of the week check-in, I wanted to make a video because sometimes it's easier for me to talk than it is to write, and I think sometimes you hear me better than it is when you read me. So I made a little list of the things that I wanted to talk about in my little check-in. So the first thing is, if you haven't already started on week 4, I urge you all to do so because there's a lot, especially if you haven't even looked at the short stories yet. There are 2 of them that you are required to read this week: The Thing in the Forest and Where Are You Going, Where Have You Been? And also I encourage you to get started on the quote integration material because you're going to be using those skills in your discussion boards this week. Which brings me to kind of the main point of this video. I have graded and responded to your discussion boards from the things they carried, and I think that a lot of you all make some overall really good points, and I'm pleased with your thinking, but I also want to address the fact that I want you all to start thinking of these discussion boards as part of a larger um, put them in the larger picture. The idea of writing these discussion boards is to get you in the practice of writing about literature and practice writing about literature with the appropriate conventions, like title format. Titles of short stories are not italicized, they are in quotation marks because they are small. They are not a standalone piece of work. And literature is also written about in the present tense. Really go back and look at the notes that I wrote from last week in terms of writing about literature and conventions when writing about it, if you don't remember that conversation. Or that lecture. And I also want you guys to focus more on analysis rather than plot summary. What I mean by that is, plot summary tells me what happens. I know what happens. I've read the stories. I want you guys to practice your analysis skills in telling me, instead of just telling me what happens, tell me why it matters. What's the significance? What's the import? What do you take away in terms of meaning from the text? So don't just tell me what happens, tell me why it matters, because these are ideally my thinking. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I hope that you will take something from these discussion boards or from the close reading or the literary elements background to kind of generate ideas that you want to use for your larger literary analysis and transform some of the work that you've already been doing into that larger analysis, because your literary analysis is sneaking up on you. It's right around the corner. I also want to address that I don't know if you remember reading in the discussion board requirements posted in week 1. Discussion board, the length of your discussion board post, at least your initial response, should be at least 150 words, not 40 or 20 or whatever. So really take the time to, I'm looking for thoughtful responses that show me that you've read the work, that you've understood the work, and that you have something to add in terms of your own reading and your interpretation of the stories in general. And with your replies, they should also be longer than, one sentence is like, I agree. I totally agree. Really engage with one another in the ideas that your classmates present, because the idea is to have a conversation about what you've read. Especially if I ask you a question, I hope that you'll take the time to respond to questions that I ask you directly, or that I pose to the class collectively, because they're meant to um, probe your thought processes, so to speak, and get you to take your ideas further. So you can add strength to your development, you can add strength to your responses, and you can get the analysis that I'll ultimately be looking for. So when you approach your discussion boards this week, it's a little bit different, because I'm asking you all to use direct quotations in um, your responses. So please keep in mind that you don't want to quote long passages. You want to use the best little nuggets, and I will be looking for proper MLA format in terms of your in-text citations and things of that nature. So really take more than, don't wait until the night that they're due to respond to everything. Really take the time to formulate a thoughtful response to your discussion boards this week, because I'm going to be grading them a little bit more harshly, critically, or whatever you want to call it. Which brings me to my final point. Your drafts for your literary analysis are due at the end of the week. So if you want to discuss an idea with me, if you're not really sure what you want to write about, or if you want help formulating a tentative thesis statement, please, please, please email me. Come visit me during my office hours, set up an appointment. I love to have conversations about the literature that we're reading, and I love helping you guys kind of figure out ideas for, your papers. Because a lot of you guys say things that I would never even have thought of. So please feel free to reach out to me this week in terms of getting an idea for your paper, if you want help, if you need help. Or you can, wing it and see what happens. But I look forward to hearing from you guys this week. So let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. And also, look out for your graded comparison contrast papers. I've gotten through about half of them, and I'm still working through the rest of them, and I'm almost done with your paraphrases. So be patient with me, and your grades will be updated in the next couple. Give me till tomorrow, because I'm probably not going to do too much more this evening. So let me know again if you have any questions, and I'll be in touch with you guys throughout the week.